Ladies and gentlemen, have you ever paused in front of the mirror and asked yourself, not who am I, but rather, who am I becoming? There is a version of you not yet born, waiting behind the veil of fear, waiting for your permission to step into the world. Not just a richer you, but a fuller you. Today, we are not talking about pretending or playing a character. We are talking about embodying the future version of yourself, the one who has already overcome, already built, already succeeded. The truth is, transformation always begins in the psyche. Wealth, like all external realities, is first formed in the inner chambers of the soul. To act like you're already a millionaire is not arrogance, it is alignment. It is the courageous choice to live as if your vision were inevitable. Let us explore 5 principles that will take you from mere dreaming to being. Wealth is not something to be hunted down like a distant prey in the forest of fate. It is something that emerges from within when we align our outer life with the shape of our inner ideal. The desire for wealth, for freedom, for expansion, these are not just economic instincts, they are archetypal calls from the self, a pull toward the fuller realization of who we are. But here is the great misunderstanding. People chase the symbol of wealth rather than tuning into the soul that knows wealth. They seek the fruit but ignore the root. They want the result without embodying the identity from which it flows. To act like a millionaire is not to pretend, it is to remember. It is to live as if the vision has already taken form and to let that presence guide your choices, your posture, your transformation is not an act of willpower alone. It is a shift in being. Think of the caterpillar. It does not hustle its way into becoming a butterfly. It yields to a deeper instinct, a silent metamorphosis that begins within the chrysalis of surrender. Likewise, you must allow your present self to die in some way, so the future self may be born, not with violence, but with truth. You must observe the patterns of your thoughts, the language you use about money, the feelings that arise when you see someone else succeed. Are those reactions aligned with someone who owns their destiny? Or do they whisper that you are still waiting for permission? Serena, a young designer I once met, showed me something profound. She had no money, no pedigree, and no promise of success, but she walked as though she had already arrived. She changed the way she spoke, not to impress, but to express the clarity she believed she already possessed. She read books CEOs read. She scheduled her days as though she were leading a company, not just building one. She began investing in her appearance, not out of vanity, but out of reverence for the image she held of herself. People mocked her. Friends told her she was delusional, but inside she knew what they couldn't see. She wasn't acting. She was remembering. 4 years later, she stood in a boardroom, signing a deal that would change her life. $3 million, 0 cents in funding. The world finally saw what she had known all along. This is the sacred secret. The world will reflect what you declare through your being. If you walk in doubt, the world will mirror hesitation. If you walk in ownership, it will begin to organize itself around your certainty. Not immediately, not always smoothly, but eventually and inevitably. Identity is a magnet, and the clearer it becomes, the more precisely reality is drawn to it. To embody the millionaire is not about the bank account. It is about carrying the energy, the discipline, the posture, and the intention of someone who has nothing to prove but everything to give. When that embodiment is real, the external world will catch up. The voice within is the architect of your becoming. Long before the outer world reflects your ambitions, your inner dialogue either builds the cathedral of your future or quietly dismantles it brick by brick. What we whisper to ourselves in silence becomes the script we live by, often unconsciously. The subconscious mind does not weigh truth the way logic does. It absorbs repetition, tone, emotion. It cannot distinguish between what is imagined and what is real. So when you speak with conviction, I am ready, I am worthy, I am building something greater than myself, your subconscious begins to rewire itself to meet that expectation. The danger lies in how easily we surrender our inner voice to fear, self-doubt, and inherited limitations. Most people are not destroyed by external failure, but by internal erosion. 1,000 quiet moments of self-sabotage that go unnoticed. I don't have what it takes. I'm too late. Others are better. These phrases, left unchecked, form a toxic echo chamber in the mind. If repeated often enough, they become reality. But language is a tool, not a prison. Every time you shift the internal narrative, you redirect your path. When you change I can't to I'm learning, you move from helplessness to growth. When you trade what if I fail for what if I rise, you open the door to possibilities that fear had sealed shut. This is not empty motivation, it is psychological law. A study from the University of Pennsylvania revealed that individuals who practiced conscious, constructive self-talk experienced over 30% greater resilience in high-stress environments. Not because their circumstances improved, but because their perception did. The narrative they told themselves changed the meaning of their experiences. This shift in meaning, in turn, altered the choices they made, and the choices, of course, shaped the results. You are not simply reacting to the world, you are co-creating it, and your inner voice is the most consistent co-author. Imagine your mind as a garden. Every thought is a seed. You cannot stop weeds from appearing, but you can choose not to water them. You can choose to plant different things. That is the discipline of wealth, not merely managing money, but managing meaning. A millionaire mindset is not born from perfect conditions. It is born from internal coherence, a steady dialogue that reinforces your worth, your clarity, and your power to shape reality. The more you speak like the person you are becoming, the faster you align with them. In those quiet, invisible moments when doubt creeps in, that is where transformation begins. Speak to yourself not as a critic, but as the guide you once needed. Make your inner world a place where the seeds of wealth, purpose, and vision are nurtured. Speak it until you believe it. Believe it until you become it. And once you become it, you will wonder why you ever doubted in the first place. The way we make decisions reveals the emotional soil in which our future will grow. Every choice is a mirror reflecting the state of the inner world, whether it is ruled by scarcity or shaped by power. Scarcity does not mean lack of resources, it means a lack of vision. It is the voice that says, hold back, shrink, protect, even when there is no danger but only the shadow of imagined failure. Power, on the other hand, is not recklessness. It is the quiet, grounded knowing that even uncertainty can be navigated with trust in one's deeper self. To make decisions from power is not to act with arrogance, but with alignment. We are often conditioned to ask, what if it doesn't work? But very few stop to ask, what if it does? The mind trained in scarcity sees the risk of loss everywhere, while the mind aligned with possibility recognizes that not trying is the greater loss. The truly wealthy do not cling to what is safe. They are guided by something beyond fear, purpose, clarity, and the inner compass that knows growth requires movement. They build not because they are certain of the outcome, but because they are certain of themselves. They understand that every meaningful return is preceded by a courageous choice. Picture two individuals standing before the same opportunity. One steps back, haunted by the question, what if I can't handle failure? The other leans forward and asks, what if this is exactly what I've been preparing for? It is not their bank balance that sets them apart, it is their belief in who they are becoming. This is the difference between a life designed by fear and one led by intention. The former shrinks to fit past limitations, The latter expands to meet a greater future. Ask yourself, if nothing were missing, how would you move? If you already possessed the strength, the insight, the resources, what would you say yes to? What would you finally release? Decisions made from power are not decisions of impulse, but of clarity. They come from a center that knows the cost of staying small is far greater than the price of risk. When you act as though your vision is inevitable, you start choosing as that future version of you would. You no longer bargain your time for comfort. You begin to protect your energy, refine your circle, speak your truth, and step forward, without seeking external permission. Scarcity wants you to wait until you feel ready. But power understands that readiness is a myth, and courage is the true currency of transformation. Each decision is a declaration. Will you act from fear or from fullness? Will you preserve what's known or invest in what's possible? You cannot create a wealthy life while making choices rooted in poverty of thought. The path to abundance begins the moment you start treating your time, your voice, and your vision as sacred. Because they are, and when your choices reflect that truth, the world does too. The architecture of your destiny is not built in grand gestures or rare opportunities. It is formed in the hidden moments, those quiet, easily overlooked hours where the unconscious habits of your life are being carved into stone. Every morning you rise with intention. Every time you choose growth over distraction, you are not merely organizing your day. You are shaping the foundation of the person you are becoming. The future is not an accident. It is the cumulative echo of repeated choices made in the now. The disciplined life is not a cage. It is a corridor through which potential walks toward embodiment. We often imagine that transformation will arrive like lightning, a sudden insight, a breakthrough, a moment of glory, but more often it comes as a whisper. Wake up early, write it down, take the walk, make the call. Say no to what drains you, say yes to what sharpens you. These are the rituals that summon the unseen self. They require no audience, no applause, only a steady devotion to something greater than comfort. The future millionaire does not become by accident. They rise through consistent action that matches the weight of their vision. Consider the lives of those who have shaped history. Their genius did not erupt randomly. It was curated, nurtured, protected. Leonardo da Vinci filled notebook after notebook not out of compulsion, but because he understood that ideas do not arrive fully formed. They arrive through presence and repetition. Elon Musk does not stretch himself across disciplines by luck. He anchors his thinking in disciplined hours, structured inquiry, and relentless work. Oprah Winfrey, in all her power, still begins her day with silence and reflection. These are not eccentricities, they are sacred rituals. Through these, their inner order became outer influence. Begin your day as if you already bear a responsibility to serve, to innovate, to lead. Imagine waking not as a passive receiver of demands, but as a conscious steward of time, energy, and purpose. Ask yourself, if I were already the person I long to be, how would I begin this day? That question alone can shift your trajectory. When your actions align with the weight of your imagined future, that future begins to take shape. Discipline is too often misunderstood. It is not punishment. It is not restriction. It is reverence for the path you are walking. It is devotion to your own becoming. It is the daily remembrance that your dreams are worth the effort, that your soul's vision deserves structure, that greatness is not given but grown. There is a sacredness in rising early, in returning to your craft, in organizing your space. In these acts are not small, they are ceremonial. They declare to the universe, I am ready, I am becoming. I will not wait for my destiny to arrive. I will meet it halfway. And in that meeting, something eternal begins to awaken. There is a hunger in the human soul that no sum of money can satisfy. We may chase profit, accumulate titles, and construct outward empires, but without a deeper thread to hold it all together, we are left hollow, restless, and uncertain why we feel so unfulfilled. True wealth, the kind that endures and nourishes, is not born merely from ambition, but from alignment. It emerges when what you do reflects who you truly are. When your work echoes the voice of your inner truth, when your choices honor something greater than self-interest, you begin to create from a well that never runs dry. The pursuit of profit without purpose is like walking in circles in a vast desert. You may move, even run, but you do not arrive. Yet when profit becomes the consequence, not the cause, of your alignment with something sacred, then every step builds a path that leads you home. You become not just a generator of wealth, but a conduit for transformation. Burnout is not caused by effort, it is caused by disconnect. When the heart is severed from the task, even the lightest burden becomes heavy. But when you are lit from within by purpose, even the hardest challenge can feel like devotion. Consider those who have built enduring legacies. They did not simply ask, "How much can I earn?" They asked, "What can I give? What problem can I solve? What beauty can I bring into the world?" Their wealth was not an end point. It was a byproduct of service. It followed their courage to create something meaningful. You begin to walk a different path the moment you stop chasing wealth and start embodying a vision that inspires and elevates. When you act as though you are already successful, you begin to think in terms of impact, legacy, and contribution. You stop asking only what the world can give to you and start asking what you can offer to it. Money in its highest form is energy, an amplifier of intention. It can deepen whatever you are aligned with. If you are aligned with fear, money will magnify that fear. If you are aligned with ego, money will inflate it. But if you are aligned with love, service, and creativity, money becomes a sacred tool. It becomes a way to build schools, to support artists, to fund innovation, to uplift voices that the world needs to hear. In this way, you are not just acting like a millionaire, you are living as a force of change. Purpose is what gives profit its power. It transforms currency into impact. It draws people toward you not because of what you have, but because of what you stand for. And that magnetism, rooted in authenticity, is far more potent than strategy alone. To live in alignment is to remember that the soul is not here just to survive or accumulate. It is here to express, to serve, to shape the world in a way only you can. When your wealth flows from that truth, it becomes more than numbers. It becomes legacy, meaning, and light. So now I ask you, can you act today as if the version of you 5 years from now, the version with grace, confidence, and wealth, is already here? Because in truth they are. They live in the choices you make when no one is watching, in the thoughts you choose when doubt creeps in the silence of your courage when the world says no. Become that person now. Act as though it is done, not to fake it, but to awaken it. For it was never about the money. It was about remembering who you were always meant to be. Thank you.